And now, what you're all waiting for, we have Rudy Turkal today. He has a history degree from Kent State University. He, I can tell you, was an amazing teacher at Franklin. I visited his classroom a couple times. He was just as good at that as he is about speaking to us. He was a vice president in banking and mortgage lending. He was past president of the Park Board and vice president of the Planning Commission. And now he's marketing director at Santangelo's Catering and Party Center. We've all enjoyed his presentations here before, as have dozens, I would almost say hundreds of organizations throughout his career. He's Massillon's Trivia King. You've surely heard him at the Picnic in the Park, or at the summer concerts, or at the Cruise Inn. And if you listen really well, he's going to have a little game afterwards. He can't do anything without a little game, a little fun. You probably know he directed the Lions show for decades, and he's still performing in it. He designed those beautiful holiday lights that line Lincoln Way at Christmas time, and he designed most of the Resi Fest decorations and was just one of my right-hand guys for 8 years doing Resi Fest. We're still cold. And, he is Massillon's premier collector of Massillon memorabilia. His house is just full of amazing Massillon things, but the amazing thing about it is that he knows where every single one of them is. Can all of you say that? In 2009, for his years of service to the community, he had the honor of lighting the community candle. And by the way, the Community Candlelight Walk will be back this year on December 4th. And in 2014, this will not surprise you at all, the repository named him one of the 10 most interesting people in Stark County. Rudy, it's your turn. He also roasts the pig with Joe Herrick, his nephew. There are pig roasters for the island party. You ready? Here you go.
I gotta pee. No potty joke. I'm serious. You think I don't get nervous doing this? I'm nervous. Hi. Margie, don't go far because people will ask me questions and I don't know, and I always say, just call Margie. But today, she's already here. So, thank you. When we get done tonight, please, some of the things we're mentioning up here, we have on display. Feel free to come up and look around, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. When I was asked to do another brown bag, I said, sure, but what can I talk about? I said, well, how about things that used to be made in Massillon? So, in doing my research, I was really excited to see how many things used to be made in Massillon. Then I was really depressed to see how many things used to be made in Massillon. During World War II, a catchphrase for the Massillon Chamber of Commerce was, what Massillon makes Massillon. Now, today we still have wonderful companies that make things, just not as many. So, we made too many things to mention in this program, so let's just kind of pick and choose. Why did manufacturing start here in the first place? Well, you can thank Mother Nature and the Canadians. They're both responsible for some of the natural resources here that encouraged manufacturing. Mother Nature, in the form of massive ice sheets, glaciers a mile thick in places, came down from Canada during the Pleistocene era, the Ice Age, which was like 2 million years ago. Wait a minute, I learned this in college. 2 million and 36 years ago, these glaciers came down here. Now, glaciers are earth-moving machines. Over time, they press down, they spread, they move outward, like me. Over time, I press down, I spread outward. In essence, I'm a glacier. Anyway, glaciers dig, scour, churn, they scrape, they gouge, they level hilltops, they fill in valleys, and they carry all this material in suspension until, like in the movie Forrest Gump, he runs across the country, and all of a sudden one day he just stops. That's what the glaciers did. Then, as they melted, all the stuff that these glaciers were carrying just dropped, including the mineral-rich soil scraped up from Canada. It's called glacial till. That became the basis for our agricultural industry. They didn't call us the wheat city for nothing during the canal era. Now the meltwaters of the glacier deposited sand and gravel and clay, and all of those things and nearby deposits of coal gave us the ingredients to make iron and steel and glass and cement and so forth. Our current water supply, in part, and correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, still comes from wells drilled into an underground river filled with glacial debris, the Big Indian. It's not a river you can row your boat down. It's underground, it's a gravel aquifer full of water, and we tap into that. The Great Lakes are also a result of glaciers. So anyway, we got all these goodies from Canada, and they kept hockey. and most of the moose, and some good fishing lakes. If we mention somewhere where you worked, raise your hand up so that we can kind of see. So we had all these wonderful natural ingredients available. So what do we make? Well, industrially, we made iron, then steel, aluminum products, heavy machinery, things from glass. We fabricated metal. We made stuff out of clay. Early firms like the Volcano Iron Company made pipe. The Massillon Furnace Company made things of iron. In 1913, the Massillon Iron and Steel Company made manhole covers. Couldn't we use them today? Of course, one of the biggest manufacturers was Republic Steel. Republic people? Mandy.
Oh man, keep your hands up, people.
Keep your hands up if you're a Republic person.
I've been tasked with distributing things.
Yes, you will be.
Okay.
If you raise your hand up, we're going to give you a coupon for 50 pounds of ice from the Massillon Ice Company. Now, yeah, Republic, put your hand up. Now, Republic was formerly Central Alloy Steel, formerly Central Steel. At its peak, Republic Steel employed 12,000 workers, about 7,000 in Canton, about 5,000 here. Now, I hope you saw the wonderful steel exhibit that the museum did a little while back. I'm sure there's probably still maybe books for sale in the gift shop over here. Now, Republic's trade names included agathon, which was the Greek word for agathonia or something. No, it was actually the Greek word for extreme quality, not indicative of the type of softball used to be played at Agathon Field. Now, the most famous, perhaps, was for the stainless steel, trademarked Enduro. It was a high-quality, rust-resistant steel used in kitchens, dairies, milk trucks, aircraft, and a myriad of other applications, including decorative elements on the Empire State Building and on the Chrysler Building in New York City, and on the all-stainless train, the Burlington Zephyr. This gentleman right here brought a nice ad here, and you can ask him after the program anything you want to know about the Burlington Zephyr. A very nice Art Deco, all stainless steel train. And he can tell you a little bit about where it's at and everything now. And the same way here. These are just, if you worked at the mill, you might have made some of these. These are just some of the different products that, the types of steel that Enduro made. Now, you know, Republic later became LTV, Mercury, Stainless, Lukens. The Enduro was poured in Canton and then shaped in our rolling mills. Now, also on that Republic property were some other companies. American Stamping and Enameling. Anybody here work there? If you did, you're probably about 108 years old. Now, American Stamping made enameled kitchenware, and chamber pots, and cuspidors, and dental spit boxes, and sugar bowls. Hopefully they didn't get them mixed up. How about Enterprise Aluminum Company? Any Enterprise people? Sally, you worked everywhere. Every company I mentioned. You just want an ICE certificate? Is that what you want? Enterprise Aluminum. Enterprise Aluminum, yes. Put your hand up. Mandy will get you some ice. If you have a relative, Mandy, her dad worked there. Does that count? Yeah, close enough, close enough. There you go. Now, Enterprise, of course, moved to Georgia later. Enterprise made aluminum cookware, pans, butter dishes, food trays for the military. They also made products under the names Century Aluminum and Paramount. What was its claim to fame? The drippolator, the drippolator. This would be a drippolator. Still has the label. Now the pottery itself was made by the Hall Pottery Company. In Massillon, we made the aluminum inserts right here. And here's just another cute little guy here. And afterwards, if you come up, and you can look at this and you can read the directions on how to make coffee in your drippolator. Now, one lady told me here today, that's the rage today. They're in French coffee pots and everything. So. But yes, that was the drippolator. They also made the teolator. If you're out in an antique store somewhere, you'll see pots that look like this made by Hall Pottery. You flip them upside down, they may just say Hall Pottery. If they were drippolators from Massillon, they say drippolator, or in this case, teolator. Or a real ugly thing called a fresh-olator, which my wife made me throw away because it's so ugly. And they also made extremely large, ugly coffee urns. Now this once proud multi-factory complex is now a storage yard for steel pipe made in Greece. At least something's down there now, it's nice to see. Now, over time, several companies occupied what is now Republic Engineered Steel near 3rd Street Southeast. Formerly Union Drawn? Union Drawn people? Yeah, put your hand up, George. You get an ice certificate, man. What'd you do, work at Union Drawn before you went to medical school? Did you? During. Union Drawn and Peerless Drawn Steel. Now those are all companies that made shaped steel for other uses. The Fort Pitt Bridge Works and the Massillon Bridge and Structural Steel companies were also there. Now there's a catalog for Massillon Bridge right here. And again, these things you can come up afterwards and look. You can lift them up and look at them. This is a catalog in the upper right-hand corner for the Massillon Bridge Company. It lists 868 bridges that they made that sit all around the country. Now, that became, Massillon Bridge was founded by Joseph Davenport, who also invented, what did he invent? Anybody?
Steam car.
The what?
The steam car.
The steam car? Okay, what else?
Cow-catcher.
Cow catcher. Cantilever bridge, yes. We're looking for the one that kicks all the cows off the bridge so the trains can go. Yes, he invented the cow catcher, and the bridge that's in Oakland Park right now is a Joseph Davenport bridge. The National Pressed Steel Company here in town made steel lumber. They talk about it today, steel 2x4s and such. They made steel lumber used in the old City Hall when it was built, right next door. And also, a place here. Also, in this building right across the street, the Hess Snyder building, or the Ideal building. National Pressed Steel. That evolved into the Massillon Steel Joist Company under a principal partner named Stanley Maycomer. After a fire in the plant, took the company to Canton, renamed it the Maycomer Corporation. George Wagner, put your hand up. If you have any questions, George is the official historian of the Maycomer Company. He'll tell you everything you want to know about structural steel. He brought some samples over here too. So if you have any questions for George afterwards, I'm sure he will answer your questions for you. Now, Massillon Steel Castings. Anybody? Massillon Steel Castings. Stand over there? Yeah. So did Sally. I think Massillon Steel Castings and Tyson Roller Bearing, of course, on the west side. Massillon Steel Castings, now known as what? NFS, National Feeds Crew. They made steel wheels, other items, and their brand name was Tiger Loy. Way in the back there, keep on going. While Tyson made cageless bearings, which I never understood. I mean, isn't that like throwing marbles on the floor? And I wonder what holds the bearings in. But evidently it worked because they made these beautiful things right here. Cageless bearings.
Tapered roller.
What were they?
Tapered roller bearing.
Thank you. Tapered roller bearings. Usually the heckling comes from this guy. Let's see. Those roller bearings they used in mine cars, aircraft, those types of things. Both companies grew. They were heavily involved in and awarded for wartime production. Companies received the E medal, the E for effort, during the war. Before Tyson, that location was home of the Massillon Foundry and Machine. And they made these huge drop hammers used to shape metals. Guess what the hammer was called? The Massillon, yes, the original, yes. Give him a prize. No, I don't. No, he's just cranky. Leave him alone. Now, companies like MSF&B, Massillon Stone and Fire Brick Company, and Corundite refractories, they made the insulated bricks that lined the furnaces that made the steel. While the Warthorst and Everhard quarries were where they made stone for building purposes. The Everhard quarry, if you know where Massillon Cable TV is, if you would walk north on their property, you would fall over the edge of the cliff into the Everhard quarries, which are up there. Now, speaking of stone, for many generations, the Biter Monument Company made tombstones, gravestones for Massillon families. Now, when I drive down South Erie by the cemeteries, I kind of chuckle at the new company's sign. It says, Thompson Memorials and Countertops. Now, although that sounds amusing, it's nothing new. Because in the late 1800s, before Biter Monuments, there was a company called the Smith and Kuntz Marble Works at 65 Charles Avenue, and they made tombstones and tabletops. So there you go. So nothing changes, I guess. I don't know, would you get your countertop shaped like a tombstone? I don't know. Another aluminum company was Massillon Aluminum, who used the trade name Betty Bright. Betty Bright. They made things like, I think they were copying the drippolator design.
Here, I'm failing at my data duties.
Yes, sir, yes.
You gave me so many things to do.
Well, I'm sorry, you can do it. You can multitask. Yes, that is a Betty Bright drippolator. Doesn't look very bright. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. I think you had to buy the copper stuff and everything, too. They used the name Betty Bright. They were located in the original Reed Glass Company on Canal Street, which is 2nd Street, and were a subsidiary of Echo, who also made aluminum household products in the plant that was originally the Corns Rolling Mill off of State Avenue Northwest. Any Echo people? Anybody know what Echo stands for? It stood for the Edward Katzinger Company in Chicago. In case you're in a bar some night and you need a bar bet, there you go. Within walking distance of Echo was the Ohio Paper Products plant, which made paper products. And the old Posture Products Company, which made mattress springs. Yes, mattress spring. Anybody work there? Posture Products? No? Okay, very good. Let's see. Another paper company there was the Massillon Container, or another paper company was Massillon Container, which was in Navarre, and Massillon Plaque is in Canton. So, say no more. Central States Can, out by the stadium. They made various types of cans. That's a different topic for Bombay. I should tell you the softball story, but I can't. Central States Can, they made various types of cans, including a patent. You know how they made, you got the pop-top lids, you would take them off and drink a can? They made the first one that stays with the can, so that it doesn't pop off and the kids cut themselves playing, or the dogs eat them, or somebody puts them in for an earring, or whatever else you would do with pop-top cans. Now, also in that area was the Whitmer-Jackson Company. Anybody Whitmer-Jackson people? And they made waste baskets in the 50s and the 60s. And then earlier, the Massillon Wire Basket Company patented the Daisy. Who would name a garbage can Daisy? I don't know. Ohio Can and Crown Cork and Seal also make various containers up there. Hey, Vanna? I don't know.
You know what's going to happen? I'm just going to get so excited about what you have.
Oh, here.
Take it, put it
No, you're not. No, you're not. I love this little piece here. Look at the baskets on the back.
that's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Make sure you return it.
Oh,
Make
see.
sure you- I'm watching you. Now, Midwestern Industries. Anybody? Midwestern? There's a Midwestern guy. Hey, man, come on. Now, right here. Put your hand up. Yes, yes. Midwestern Industries. They made a disposal ring gyratory screen separator. I just like to say that. Disposal ring gyratory screens. I don't know what it does, but it sounds good. Ohio Drilling Company, which used to be down here, which is now in the industrial park, still makes screens and drilling equipment, as did the Edward Christman Company, who made a high-grade drilling machine and a stump remover. Not to be outdone, in 1902 in West Brookfield, which was the west side of Massillon, Edward Kern made the miner's drill, which came in very handy in the many coal mines west of town. Now, companies moving between Canton and Massillon was nothing new. In 1893, the W.R. Harrison Company moved here from Canton. In Canton, the Joseph Dick Company built a silo called the Blizzard. Not to be outdone, Harrison named their Massillon silo the Tornado. Now, they were located on Walnut Road near 21, where Building 9 is now, and that used to be the Massillon Spring and Rivet Company. Now, Harrison also made other equipment on the back of that one, Mandy. You'll see there's cutters and blowers. They also made wheelbarrows, as did the Stanley Barrow, or the Stanwood Barrow Works west of town. Newer silos were made later by the Michigan Silo Company. Anybody? I think they were down off of Cherry Road. That's a nice particular piece right here. What this was is a flyer that was mailed. You flip it over once and hold it horizontal. That was sent to you in the mail. Then you would open it up, and it was that beautiful poster on the other side of it. It's one of my favorite pieces right there. Make sure you put it back. Watch it. Of course, the largest agricultural firm was, anybody?
DR.
No, before that. Right there, the Russell Company. The Russell Company. Anybody work for the Russell Company? They've been around since 1842. I didn't get there yet. All right. Now, they occupy both sides of Erie Street, from Canal Street, which is 2nd Street, to 3rd Street Southeast, Walnut Road, to Wetmore Avenue. It was large, employed hundreds of people. They made these huge steam traction engines that weighed 25,000 pounds. And they made other farm machinery. These engines, which I never understood how they got out into a field without sinking in the mud, they had these belts attached to them, and then those belts would be tied to a thresher or some other farm machine out there that would do its farm-related duties. Of course, these kind of went into, they were in business till the gasoline engine came along, gas tractors, generators, those types of things. So what used to be a 25,000 pound piece of machinery out in the field is now a little lawn tractor, probably does the same thing. But what was their trademark? Anybody? The boss, yes, that which was a big cow, yes. A bull, sorry. I grew up in the city.
It's very inappropriate.
I dropped my buttons. People have told me that before. The museum has a Russell steam engine hiding someplace around here. Now, when the Russell Company closed, the Russell Engine Company was formed to supply parts and such to old engines, and that was absorbed ultimately into the Griscom Russell Company. Griscom Russell, of course, makes heat transfer equipment, and they occupied portions of the old plant. Now, hopefully, you notice up here, there's a picture, again, later you can look at it above next to the speaker, is an old drawing of the Griscom Russell plant, which occupied, again, a lot of the area that Russell occupied. And Griscom Russell made, not this thing, this is an ashtray. They made them things. Screen heating tubes and stuff like that. Yeah. Pin tubes, yes, yes. Griscom Russell people, put your hand up, yes. Yeah, come on, up, girl. Come on. You're going to see 150 ice coupons on eBay tomorrow. Another one back here?
Navy water distillers.
Navy water distillers, boiler-related equipment. Actually, if you're really interested, we have a catalog up here. You can look at afterwards. Also in South Erie, north of the Russell Company, was the S. Snyder Company. From the 1880s on, they made pumps and windmills for the farm. They made mining machinery, but they were best known for their furnaces and stoves. And their trademark was, anybody?
Boomer.
The boomer, yes. A big fire in the early 60s finished those buildings, and Hess Snyder was down where the post office is and the fire station. And here is just a plaque. This is something that would fit on the front of one of their furnaces. That's from the Hess Snyder No. 6 Boomer Cannon Heater.
I'm going to leave that one on there.
Yes, that's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. And then Mrs. Gessner, put your hand up, please.
This side.
Where's she at? You were over there. What'd you do? Of course, her family grandparents were the Hesses. Yes, from the old Hess Snyder Company. So there's a family that goes way back right there. Cows made milk. But we had lots of dairies that made ice cream, butter. Was that too obvious that cows make milk? Was it? Pick it up a little bit. Massillon cows. Massillon cows made Massillon milk. Yes, thank you. But the dairies made ice cream, butter, cheeses, and related. Dairies like Acme, Vogelsang, Cormany, Rhinell, Massillon Pure Milk, Snyder, Bars, Daniel Keller, Westside Dairy, Ideal, BJ Nussbaumer, Oberlin and Morris, Oberlin and Stamets, Oberlin and Brinker, Oberlin, Snyder and Zimmerman, Myers Springbrook Farm, City View Dairy, Brookfield, J.M. Stork, Prince Horan's East Greenville Dairy, Oak Grove, Engelmont, and Zinc. There are more. These are just ones I have bottles from in my living room. Don't we, hon? Now, if you needed seed for your chickens or flour to bake your bread in one of the too many to mention bakeries in town, you would stop at the Warwick's Sipple Valley Mills, which was on Tremont Southeast. Remnants of it are still on Tremont. The Curve, you see those old cement structures that are falling apart over there? That's all part of the complex. A train did go over those concrete abutments that you see there that you drive through. So that's all part of the old, whatever I just said. The West Side Milling Company later became Series Supply on Tremont. Where's Tommy Matthews at? Tommy? Whenever we get to a company that burnt down, can you shout out and let me know? I forgot to mention earlier, Tom's a retired fire chief, so usually he hollers at me too, along with this guy. So, all right. But yes, Series Supply Company had a fire. Also, you could have bought feed downtown at the Massillon City Mills, which later became Buckeye Cereal, where you could have bought some Tuscoda pastry flour. Now, you can see this thing right here. This is just a flour sack from the City Bell West Side Milling Company. I just wrote these tape at the top. Yeah, cool.
Tape
cool.
is evil.
Yes, well, not that tape, it comes off. Yeah, that's kind of, wonder who the model was for it. They probably talked to some young girl. How'd you like to be a model for a bag of flour? Of course, Buckeye cereal is one of the biggest fires, I believe, that Massillon had for a long time, yes, or ever. Now, we have other food-related manufacturers. Of course, now we have Shears and such across the street. But we had kitchen-cooked potato chips, Heinz Foods, which evolved from Ore-Ida, and Weight Watchers, which evolved from Pelosi's Pizza, and Baltino Foods, the world's largest manufacturer of frozen pizzas, right here in Massillon, Ohio. Superior the Meats was the home of Frankie the Keener, Wiener, Frankie. Frankie, hi everybody. I have a mustard too, but the mustard one doesn't have a hat. So I left him at home. Of course, now it's Freshmark, which still seems to be growing and everything, which is good. Now, McLean's was a wholesale grocer that at one time was also a manufacturer. They made Ketchum and Hold'em sticky fly paper. But it didn't contain any poison, so how did it kill the flies? What would you do? Just kind of hang there until you starve to death? I mean, I don't know. It didn't say that. Now, sign making in Massillon was a big deal too. The old Massillon Sign and Poster Company evolved into the MCA Sign Company, maker of display items for national brands. Anna?
Sell it with signs.
Yes. They made signs, as did the John Eigelstrom Company, later the Eigelstrom Oberlin Company. Their trade name was Duckeen. Their signs were made out of a canvas type material. What? Oh.
Hi.
Talk faster? Okay, we still have sign companies today like Adams, Crown, EB Advertising and such. Rubber had a presence in Massillon. The Massillon Rubber Company made rubber gloves, as did Perry Rubber, and later Ansell, who billed themselves as the world's largest manufacturer of surgical rubber gloves. Mel Hernkeen tells a story of an elderly lady he was talking to one time. He said, "Where did you work, ma'am?" She said, "The Massillon Rubber Company, and we do not make those things." Capital Plastics was in town. They made acrylic and plastic coin holders, but a company called Gemtech made something. Everybody knows that. Gemtech made clear acrylic bowling balls. Does anybody have one? I could have had one today. There's one for sale up at the Medina Antique Mall. They want $75 for it. I wasn't too crazy about it. But it's a clear orange translucent. Rick Dolsky, it has Obie the Tiger in it. The Booster Club better go down and get it, man. $75. It's up in Medina. Let's see. After a hard day's work, you may have wanted to stop in somewhere and have a beverage. You could have got there in your buggy, made by Perry Young, or in your Jewel automobile, made by the Forest City Motor Company, of which the museum has a Jewel hiding someplace with the Russell tractor.
It's on the second floor.
It's on the second floor, is it? Okay, you can see it. And of course, that was where the old MCA Sign Company was. While you were at the bar, you could order a Schuster beer, which was, now technically it wasn't made in Massillon. I guess it would be assembled in Massillon. But it was located down where the new Chipotle is going to be, where Ohio Drilling used to be. You could also have a soft drink from the Earl Company, Gleitzman, Knee High, Best Cola, Whistle Pop. They were all bottled in Massillon. Now the older glass bottles may have been made by one of the several glass companies here in town. Oh dear. The Rhodes Glass made amber and green beer bottles, while the MB and G, that's what's on the bottom of that bottle, that's a Schuster bottle, that was by the Massillon Bottle and Glass Company. Again, remember we had the natural materials here to make glass. Other firms like Weatherald and Walls made plate glass. Ohio Glass Products made fruit jars. The Massillon Stoneware Company made Boston baked bean making jars. The Reed and Pocock glass companies were also making items in Massillon. You know, we mentioned all these companies and everything, but we have to remember there were people that worked in these companies. Hundreds of thousands of people that worked in all these companies. And many times a computer just replaced everybody, and robots that replaced jobs that we used to do. Now, before everybody had non-smoking bans, you could have stood at the bar, you could have spit in your spittoon made by Gus Rhine back in 1901, or smoked one of the many cigars made in Massillon. H.B. Sibylla made the 5-cent commercial. Peter Gammon at 157 Duncan made the Beauty. C.S. Erdel made the General Sumter. They said it wasn't the best in the world, but a good, rich, agreeable cigar. Probably like smoking a rope. Most of the cigar boxes were made locally by the Brown Lumber Company. Now, Arthur Seiler made cigars, namely the Habaneta. But the king was the Continental Cigar Factory of Peter Seiler. And afterwards, if you can see this picture back here, the Continental Cigar Factory, in the late 1800s, Massillon had 8 cigar factories, but the Seilers was the biggest. They had 145 rollers. That means people rolling cigars. And, that's right here. Yeah, make sure I get that back
I'm
too.
going to show you guys.
Now, that cigar factory later became the Seiler Hotel, later became the Erie Hotel, is now a parking lot. Now, right over here, these apartments, right over here in Tremont, are called Seiler Terrace. So that would have been like the last remnants of the old Seiler Company. So we're getting there, Marty. After a night of drinking and smoking or other debauchery in town, certain remedies might be needed. You could have stopped in at the Balsley Pharmacy to buy some Dandoc for your dandruff, maybe before you went out, or Coxilax if your other end needed help. Kirchhoff drugstores, right here across the street, made Swiss Mountain Dew. If you know Mel Hernkane, ask him to tell you the Mountain Dew story. It's not quite as good as the lady that worked at the rubber company, but it's fun. If all else fails, you could have got a bottle of radium water, or you could have got a bottle of Hornberger's Blood Purifier. The great rheumatic specific. Yes, you want to try it? It is warranted. Is that the same as guaranteed? To cure liver, stomach, and kidney trouble, catarrh, headache, neuralgia, nervous dyspepsia, constipation, loss of appetite, sleeplessness, heart trouble, dropsy, asthma, hay fever, biliousness, and eczema. It's probably 60% alcohol. If you came to the ladies or to the museum's exhibit on ladies' undergarments, you may have noticed and been surprised by a number of clothing manufacturers here in town. Shirts were made by the Cooperative Shirt Company. The M. Moore Shirt Factory made work shirts only, and the Massillon Skirt Factory made you a skirt made to order for $2.95 and up. Dresses also made by the Bloomfield Dress Company and the Klein Garment and Skirt Factory, who also made wedding and burial dresses. Some would say they're one and the same. I'm not saying. At that time, you could get into your high art bloomers made by the Dillon Company, who there's a street called Dillon right down here, or your high art bloomers or your petticoats made by Dillon, or you could have got into your undies made by the National Garment Company under the name Massillon Made. So, actually I think I missed a paragraph, but what the heck, my time's up anyway. So, that's about it. Hopefully this program helped to validate my personal slogan for this town. My personal slogan would be, Massillon, Ohio, more than just football. Thank you very much.